typical rural farming community, but the nicest people you'll ever meet. They honestly, our community is just super nice people. I'm a farm wife. My husband's a farmer and rancher, and so he called me. We farm about 15 miles south out of the valley. He called me at my office and said, I'm on my way in, I'll just pick up carry out. Because I was at the office late because we had been under that weather advisory and the warnings. And so we are constantly in tune with the weather service out of Pueblo. And when they gave the stand down, that as far as they could tell, the worst had moved on, I went home. And the weather spotters who are affiliated with the town, either as civil defense or city employees who are trained to do weather spotting, they also stood down and came back into town. So I went home, and my husband was just driving into the driveway with carryout, and we sat down at our kitchen table and barely had anything out of the bag. And I said to him, my ears are popping. It reminds me of when we had that tornado at the farm, which was another horrible experience. He was kind of, whatever, and then he said, oh, my ears are popping. He stood up to look out the window and shouted to me. By then we could hear the wind, and he shouted to me to get in the basement, which is actually just off of the edge of our eating area. So I lunged toward the basement, but we didn't make it all the way down to the basement. The glass came in on us, all the glass. And it was from that point just kind of surreal. We ran to the back of the basement, but yet debris was flying in down the stairs into the back of the basement. And when we came out, after we felt certain it was past and we came out, it was dusk, getting very, and when we walked out on the back porch, my husband's brother and his wife lived right behind us, and their house was gone. And from what we get, it was dark, there was lightning, but we ran toward their house calling out their names. There was no response, and it was pretty awful. People were beginning to gather in the middle of the street from those rows of houses. Were gathering in Highland, and the men were trying to sort of do a census of who was probably at home and who they were calling names and trying to touch base. And relatives' voices. They were at their kids' house a few doors down, and they had found them to all be okay. Them, their kids and their children. They were walking back toward us. That was my first sense of what it was going to be like. It was going to be horrible. Because not everybody's family on that street made it. It was horrible. There were some things that occurred after the disaster that were not anticipated, and one of them that was the most striking, I think, was how our young people who had gone away to college or to other careers, I think when they came back to visit, they could see that Holly was on the move. Things were improving, particularly after the school district was awarded the grant for the new school, and the taxpayers approved the $3 million bond for our share of the project. The landscape changed a lot, and especially over on West Cheyenne Street, that's the street that's on the south side of Pugas. Mm-hmm. And, there were other homes there, and they're not there, no one rebuilt. Behind my door, my closed door, those meetings we had to have that was so hard. It causes you to create a bond with other people that you might not have otherwise had anything more than just a working relationship with. And I feel like, even in my position, I owe them so much. I could not have done it. I couldn't have done it because when I was down, they would encourage me. And when we had to go in there and shut the door because they came in with tears running, maybe I had the strength, to help them get through it. And that didn't just happen once. It happened for several years. The day after the tornado, on the 29th, somebody put I think it was like a big muffin with a candle in it on my desk, because it was my birthday.
Oh,
So every year, I of course have those, that's a trigger. It's my birthday, but I remember what I was doing on that day. I was a transplant here. I moved here when I married. And so this is not my home community, but this is my home. And it's my adopted community. And